Hi my dear friends, welcome back to another Python tutorial class. In this class we shall see something more about list comprehension and other things. So first is usage of list comprehension. This we have already seen in our previous class, but let us solve some more examples. Generate a list through list comprehension. So first of all you have to generate a list through list comprehension consisting even numbers which are divisible by 5 between 2 and 30. So there is this range of numbers between 2 and 30, and find out those even numbers which are divisible by 5. So we have to generate even numbers in this range. That is between 2 and 30. There are odd numbers also, but we have to generate only the even numbers between 2 and 30, and then check out which are those even numbers which are divisible by 5. So at first, here I declare an empty list. L is equals to an empty list. Then in the next line, line number 3, for x in range 2 comma 31 comma 2. So what will happen here is this is the start value and this is the stop value and this is the step size. So start value is 2, and what is the stop value? 31. 31 will be excluded. So the range will go up to 30. And in what steps will the values be increasing? In the step size of 2. So first it starts with 2, then 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, 8 plus 2 is 10, 10 plus 2 is 12, then 12 plus 2 is 14. Like this, keep on increasing and it will go up to 30. Okay, these will be the numbers which will be, these will be the numbers that will be generated by the range internally, and to access this range we have applied the for loop over it. Okay, so x will become first 2, then x will be 4, then x will be 6, then x will be 8, then x will be 10, 12, 14, like that up to 30. Now in the next, if x mod 5 equal to 0. Now what is the question here? The question here is basically you have to obtain only those even numbers which are divisible by 5. Completely divisible by 5 means the remainder will be 0. So that means you have to apply the modulo operation. So that's why the condition here is if x mod 5 equal to 0. So x mod 5. Okay. If x mod 5, if in place of x a value comes, suppose 2 comes, what is 2 mod 5? What is 2 mod 5? 2 mod 5 will be nothing but 2, remainder will be 2, isn't it? So that is not equals to 0. However, if you take a number such as 10, what will be 10 mod 5? 10 mod 5 will result in 0. That is the remainder. 10 divided by 5, what will be the remainder? Remainder will be 0 on this side, on LHS. So that is equals to 0. For that condition will be satisfied. So here inside the for loop, I have applied this if condition, if x mod 5 equals to 0. If this condition is true, if this condition is satisfied, if condition, then the cursor, that is the control, will go to the next line where L plus equals to X. This is your extend operation. If you remember from our previous class, extend operation will help you to expand the list, and that same list will be only expanded and no new list or no new object will be created. Okay, so here first of all X is 2. For loop has started. If 2 mod 5 equal to 0, no, condition is false. So the control goes back to line number 3. Then it's for 4. Now x becomes 4. If x mod 5 equals to 0, means if 4 mod 5 equals to 0, no, 4 is not divisible. 4 is not divisible by 5. So the control goes back to line number 3 again. Then it goes to 6. The answer is no. Goes to 8. Answer is no. Now when x becomes 10, when x becomes 10, then here if x mod 5 equals to 0, what is the value of x here right now? 10, isn't it? So if 10 mod 5 equals to 0, the answer is yes, because 10 mod 5 will yield a remainder value of 0 on the LHS side. That will be equals to 0, because 10 divided by 5, what is the remainder? It is 0. So on the LHS you will get 0. So 0 equals to 0, yes. Then the control goes to the next line where this extend operation happens. So L plus equals to X. So internally what will happen here is L will now, previously it was an empty list, now it gets populated. By what value? By the value of 10. Then the control goes from line number 5 to line number 3, because the for loop has to continue, run and complete. So a comma appears here because now for loop runs again and x moves to the next value, which is 12. If 12 mod 5 equals to 0, no. 14, no. In between you will have 20. When x becomes 20, then here what will happen? If 20 mod 5 equals to 0, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. So the control will go to the next line, and here extend operation happens via which the list expands. So here 20 gets inserted. Okay. And then the other values like 21, 22, sorry, 22, 24, 26, 28, those values are not divisible by 5. So for those values, the if condition won't be satisfied. Now finally x becomes 30, and here the condition will become if 30 mod 5 equals to 0, the answer is yes. 30 is completely divisible by 5, so the remainder is 0. So now list concatenation, sorry, list extend operation will happen as the control goes to the next line, to line number 5, and here the list further gets expanded. 10, 20, 30, and that's what we get here. 10, 20, 30. Finally, I come out of, like after 30, the loop is completed. After 30, loop is completed, so the control comes out of the for loop, goes to the line number 6, print L, it prints the value of L, which is this list. Now, here I didn't apply any list comprehension. I applied the for loop inside which I applied the extend operation of list. But I have to use the list comprehension. So for that, what to do? List comprehension also we have discussed in the previous class. L is equals to, here opening square bracket, here you have closing square bracket, and inside this you give the list comprehension statements and conditions. So what will be like? X, finally here the value of x will come up based on the for loop and the if condition. For x in range 2 comma 31 comma 2, for x in range 2 comma 31 comma 2, if x mod 5 equals to 0. So here you see we will again get the same result only 10 comma 20 comma 30, but we got that via only through one line of code. Only one line of code is sufficient enough to generate the required result. Here we required these many lines of codes to generate the required result, but here we require only one line of code to generate the result. So here the condition is the same. For x in range 2 comma 31 comma 2, so here the for loop will start from 2. Okay, there is these values only. So x is right now 2. So if 2 mod 5 equals to 0, no, then x moves to the next value. For loop continues, there is this for loop continues, x moves to the next value, becomes 4. If 4 mod 5 equals to 0, answer is no. Dot 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 like this up to 8, the answer is no. Now x becomes 10. Here this becomes if 10 mod 5 equals to 0, yes, this 10, this 10 now comes in here internally in place of x. Okay, so the list starts expanding, that is it becomes 10. Then the for loop runs again, so here you have a comma, and internally I'm talking about, for loop continues to run, and in this way the next value that will be divisible by 5 is 20. So if 20 mod 5 equals to 0, yes, so 20 will be taken up here, so the list expands 20. And then we know that the next value divisible by 5 is nothing but your 30. As for loop continues to run and it iterates over to the final value of 30, that is where x becomes equals to 30. So here, if x mod 5 equals to 0, that is if 30 mod 5 equals to 0, yes. So here 30 comes up in place of x, and here you get your list. So this will be your final list. Just one line of code. This is your list comprehension by which we get our result. Then make a list of all the integers from 1 to 40 that are divisible by 5 and 4, both. Make a list of all the integers from 1 to 40 that are both divisible by 5 and 4 via list comprehension. So again here L is equals to, then here I am going for list comprehension. First of all here x, so as to take up the final values. Here I am applying the for loop for x in range 1 comma 41. Why? Because you see what numbers we are interested in. We are interested in these numbers from 1 to 40. So that's why the range is from 1 to 41, because 41 is the stop value that will be excluded. So the control will go up to 40 just before the stop value, where the stop value is 41, which is excluded. And then what is the condition? As the for loop is iterating and x takes up each and every value, then those each and every value will be checked up here in this if condition. That is, if that number is completely divisible by 5, and also if that number is divisible by 4. that particular number has to be divisible by both 5 and 4. Okay, then only the if condition is satisfied and the number will be taken up here. So again, here you see, like between the numbers will be generated from 1 to 40. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, dot dot dot. Here you said 20, then dot 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 30, then dot 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 40. Okay, and for in this for loop, I have not given any step size, so by default, Python will take it as 1. So when x is 1, for loop starts. For x in range 1, 41, x iterates over to the first value 1. If 1 mod 5 equals to 0 and 1 mod 4 equals to 0, no, neither condition are satisfied. Then same for 2 also. For 2 also the condition is not satisfied because both the conditions have to be satisfied. The number has to be divisible by 5 as well as has to be divisible by 4. Then only the if condition is true. Now, for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, dot, 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 up to 19, for for no such values, the if condition is satisfied. That is starting from 1 to 19, the if condition doesn't get satisfied. But when I take 20, for loop is continuing to run. Now, for loop iterates over to 20, so x becomes 20. Now, here, if 20 mod 5 equals to 0, yes, and 20 mod 4 equals to 0, yes, both the conditions are satisfied, and means both the conditions have to be satisfied, then the total if condition will be true. So here for 20 both the conditions are satisfied. 20 is divisible by 5 and also divisible by 4, so 20 is taken up here as you get inside the list when you print L. Okay, then again from 21 to up to 30, no value will satisfy the if condition. Then again from 31 to 39, no value will satisfy the if condition. And finally, the for loop iterates over to this last value of 40. That is where x becomes 40. Now here, if 40 mod 5 equals to 0 and 40 mod 4 equals to 0, yeah, for both the criteria, for both the conditions, the criteria are satisfied. That is 40 mod 5 equals to 0 and also 40 mod 4 equals to 0. That is 40 is divisible by 5 and also divisible by 4. So condition is satisfied overall for the if condition, and 40 is taken up here, and here you get the list expands. This is your list comprehension, and finally you print L, so here you get the list values. Okay, 20, 40. Just run this. Then the next question is, using list comprehension of the integers, create a list in a way that in the list the odd numbers should be cubes while the even ones should be squares. Okay, and the numbers range from 1 to 12. So again, you have to use list comprehension of integers and you have to create a list in such a way that in the list you will have the odd numbers which will be cubed and the even ones should be squared, and the numbers should range from 1 to 12. Okay, so here again, L is equals to, I'm applying a list comprehension, that is opening square bracket, and then inside, then you have closing square bracket, opening square bracket, closing square bracket. Inside this, we give this entire condition. Okay. So first of all, now here a slight tweak is there. This is also known as ternary operator, where we are using three operands. Okay. So here, first of all, what happens is x to the power 2. If x mod 2 equals to 0, so if the particular number is completely divisible by 2, that means it is an even number, then that number will be taken up here, which will be an even number, and it will be squared here. Otherwise, if that particular number is not divisible by 2, if that particular number is not completely divisible by 2, that is, if that number mod 2 is not equals to 0, then that condition is not satisfied. This condition is not satisfied. That means the number is not an even number, so definitely it will be an odd number. So in that regards, the control will go to the else, and whatever is there in else, that will be executed. So that number will definitely be an odd number. An odd number here will be cubed, as you can see, x to the power 3, x to the power 3. Okay, and here we apply the for loop for x in range 1 comma 13. So if you have the else, previously we saw that when there was for and if condition, here we had for and then we gave the if condition. Okay, but if you have a scenario where you need to use if and else, Then in that regards, what you have to do is you have to write the for loop at the end, and before the for loop you have to give this if condition along with the else, and if the if condition is satisfied, then for that you have to write a particular expression which will be executed if the if condition is satisfied. If the if condition is not satisfied, then it will go to else, and whatever expression is there for else, that will be executed. Okay, so like for example 1, the numbers here will start from 1, and the numbers will start here from 1 and will go up to 12, because 13 is the stop value which will be excluded. So the control will go just before the stop value of 13, so it will go up to 12. Okay, so 1 here, first of all, this for loop runs for x in range 1 comma 13, so x becomes 1. If 1 mod 2 equal to 0, no. So this condition, this if condition, it is not satisfied here. Okay, because one is not divisible by 2. Now, if the if condition would have been satisfied, then we would have got x to the power 2, that would have been executed, but that won't be the case in this scenario where the x value is 1. So rather, it will go to else, because the if condition has not been satisfied. If 1 mod 2 equal to 0, no. So it will go to else, and here you will have 1 to the power 3. Okay, then x moves to the next value, that is 2. So if 2 mod 2 equal to 0, yes, 2 is an even number. So for that regard, now this expression will be executed. So 2 to the power 2, and you get 4. Okay, 1 cube is 1, 2 square is 4. So here you will have 2 to the power 2, 2 to the power 2. Then x moves to the next value, that is 3. So if 3 mod 2 equal to 0, no. So under else, this expression will be executed 3 to the power 3, which is nothing but your 27. Then x for loop continues to iterate. X moves to the next value, that is x becomes 4. If 4 mod 2 equal to 0, yes. So in that regard, as this condition is satisfied, so this particular expression will be executed 4 to the power 2. 4 to the power 2 is your 16. Okay. Then again, x moves to the next value as the for loop is continuing to run. For loop runs again. X becomes 5. If 5 mod 2 equal to 0, no. So 5 to the power 3, that is your 125. Okay. For loop runs, x becomes 6. If 6 mod 2 equal to 0, yes. So this expression will now be, executed. So 6 to the power 2, which is your 36. Then 7, x becomes 7. If 7 mod 2 equal to 0, no. So 7 to the power 3, which is your 343. Okay. Then 8, x becomes 8. If 8 mod 2 equal to 0, yes. So this expression will now be executed 8 to the power 2, that is 64. Like that, for 9 you get 729, it will be cubed. For 10 it will be squared, that is 100. For 11 it will be cubed, that is 1331. For 12 it will be squared, that is 144. So just execute this cell. Yeah. Next we have usage of double indexing. Usage of double indexing. Okay. So here you have something like this. L is equals to, then here you have the opening bracket and you have the closing bracket. So definitely a list. Inside this list, what we have, first element is 1, then the second element is 2, third element is 3. Then what about the fourth element? This is the fourth element overall. This is the overall fourth element, which is an inner list. Inside this inner list, you have got these three values, 15, 22, 78. Then this becomes your fifth element, sixth element, seventh element, eighth element. Okay, see, going via positive indexing, if I go by the positive indexing rule, that is from left to right, then what will be the index position of this? It will be 0. What will be the index position of this? It will be 1. What will be the index position of 3? It will be 2. Okay, then what will be the index position of this particular inner list? It will be 3. Okay, what will be the index position of this? 4. Index position of this? 5. Index position of this? 6. That is 83 I'm talking about. Then index position of 91, it will be 7. Okay, and if I go via the negative direction, that is from right to left, negative indexing, then the what will be the index position of 91? It will be nothing but your -1. Okay, then what will be the index position of this one? -2. Then what will be the index position of this one? -3. Then what will be the index position of this one? -4. That is for 34 I'm talking about. The index position will be -4. Okay. Then what will be the index position of this inner list? It will be -5. Then what will be the index position of 3? It will be -6. One sec. Yeah. Then what will be the index position of this one? -7. And what will be the index position of this one? -8. Okay. -8. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8. So what is the question here? Get 22. Get 22 from the above list. Where is 22? 22 is here. Okay, inside this inner list. So what I'm trying to do here is print L. Then here I'm using double indexing. 3, 1. You see, print then L. Here I am using these first square brackets inside which we have 3. Then you have the second square brackets inside which you have 1. So what will happen is at first this 3 means the third index position of L that will be attacked. What is the third index position of L? At third index position of L, you have this particular list. Okay, at third index position of L, you have this particular list. Then what will go? Then here in the second square bracket, you have 1. Now talking about this inner list, the index position of 15 is 0. Inside the inner list, if you go now, inside the inner list again, here the index position will be from 0 for 15, then 1 for 22, and 2 for 78. Okay, index position of 15 inside the inner list I'm talking about, just inside the inner list exclusively. The index position of 15 will be 0, index position of 22 will be 1, and index position of 78 will be 2. Okay, so already third index position is attacked where we have this inner list. Now inside the inner list, the control will iterate. It will iterate to where? It will iterate to the first index position. It will iterate to the first index position or 1th index position of this inner list. At the 1th index position of this inner list, what value you have? 22. So that's why here we get 22. If you try to run it, you see, okay. The next print L. Then here you have the first square bracket where you have 3. So at very first, what will happen is the third index position of L will be taken into consideration. At third index position of L, we have this inner list, and then in the second square bracket, I am giving -2. So -2 means now this 012 is this 012 correspond to the index position or index positions of these numbers inside the inner list going from left to right. That is for positive indexing. Now if I want to go from right to left negative wise, if I want to go from right to left negative wise, then what will be the index position of 78? Sorry, what will be the index position of 78? It will be -1, because now we are going from right to left, so negative indexing. So the index position of 78 will be -1 when we are going from right to left for negative indexing. What will be the index position of 22? It will be -2. What will be the index position of 15? It will be -3. Okay, so -2. Already the third index position is attacked. At the third index position of L, we have this inner list. Now the control will hover or iterate over this inner list only. Okay, -2. -2 means minus 2th index position. Minus 2th index position of this inner list will be attacked. So at minus 2th index position of this inner list, what value we have? We have 22. So 22 is printed again. Okay. Then next print L, then -5, -2. Now this is the first square bracket, -5. Now completely we are going for negative indexing, that is from right to left. So if you are going from right to left, then at -5, that is at -5th index position of the list. At -5th index position of L, which is a list, what do we have? We have this inner list again. Okay, going from right to left at -5th index position of L, we have this inner list. Okay, and then now the control will basically circulate or rotate over through this inner list only. It will move in this inner list only. So in the second square bracket, you have minus 2. So the minus 2th index position, the minus 2th index position of this inner list will be attacked. At minus 2th index position of this inner list, what value we have? We have 22. And this 22 is printed again. Okay. So just run this and we get this. Okay. So this is double indexing. Now next you have L is equals to, then here you have opening square bracket, closing square bracket, so definitely a list. Inside this list you have the values 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma, then here you have an inner list like this, opening square bracket and closing square bracket. Then here what is the value? 15. Okay, so this is the first inner list. This is the first inner list, this one. Okay, this is the first inner list, and the very first element of this inner list is 15, comma, then inside this inner list we have another inner list. Inside this inner list we have another inner list. Inside this we have 22 comma 78, 22 comma 78. So going from left to right, if I'm talking about, then what will be the index position of 1? It will be 0. Index position of 2, 1. Index position of 3, it will be 2. Now next, this entire thing will be taken up as an element. This entire thing will be taken up as an element. Let me write it over besides it. Okay. Yeah. So index position of this one is 0. Index position of this one is 1. Index position of this one is 2. What will be the index position of this inner list? This is the first inner list. Index position of this first inner list will be 3. Okay. Then what will be the index position of 36? It will be 4. Then what will be the index position of 77? It will be 5. Index position of 92, it will be 6. Index position of 68 will be 7. So 0, 1, 2. Then the index position of this one will be 3. Okay. Then index position of here will be 4, 5, 6, 7. Now talking about this inner list. What is the index position of this one? This is the first element. Inside this inner list. Inside this inner list, this is the first element, and this second inner list, which is inside the first inner list. This second inner list, which is inside the first inner list, the second inner list is the second element. The second inner list is the second element of this first inner list. Okay, so what will be the index position of this one? It will be 1. Okay, so basically speaking, the index position of this 15, it will be 0, and index position of this second inner list is nothing but your 1. Okay, this is the overall first inner list. Inside this you have two elements, that is, this is the first element, and this is the second element, which is the second inner list. Okay, now what will happen here is basically, what will be the index position of 22? What will be the index position of 22? The index position of 22 will be 0, and index position of 78 will be 1, because we are going inside this second inner list. Inside this second inner list, if you go, index position of 22 will be 0, index position of 78 will be your 1. Okay, so what is the question here? Question is convert 78 to none. Convert 78 to none. So where is the 78? 78 is here. 78 is here. Now first of all, we have to identify that where is this first inner list. This first inner list is at this particular index position 3. So L3. Okay. Now inside this first inner list, it has got two elements. This is the first element, which lies at 0th index position, and then this is the second element, which is the second inner list, and that lies at the 1th index position. So here you have to give 1. Okay, so that once it goes, first of all, because of 3, it will go to this list, the first inner list, because of 3, because the first inner list is situated at third index position. Then 1, What this 1 will indicate is inside this first inner list you have this first element which is at 0th index position, and the second element which is your second inner list is at 1th index position. So I have given here 1. I've given here 1 means the second inner list will be now targeted. Okay, because 78 is situated inside the second inner list. All right, so it goes to here. Now here next I'm giving 1 again. I'm giving 1 again. Now what it will do is that it will go inside the second inner list. It will go inside the second inner list. It will go to where? It will go to the 1th index position of the second inner list. The control will go to the 1th index position of the second inner list. And what do we have here? There we have 78. So L311. L311 is nothing but there you have 78. But I'm assigning L311 is equals to none. L311 I'm assigning as equals to none. So what will happen? None will be inserted here and will replace 78. So now if you print L, you see you have all the values 1, 2, 3, comma, then here you have 15, 22. Previously you had 78 after 22, but now you have none. Now here you have none after 22. So 78 is no longer there here inside this overall list. It has been replaced by none. Okay. Now next we move to some methods of list. Some methods of list. First of all, you have the append method. What is written here? With the append method, the value is appended to the list's end. So append method, it will basically append the value at the end of the list, and one value can be added at a time. That is, one value can be only appended at a time. So let us go through some examples. Okay, sorry. Okay, so here you have L is equals to, then here of this list. This list contains these 5 elements 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. First of all, print L comma ID of L. So this will print the value of list and the ID of list. This is the ID. This is the ID of L 1635884171 and here you have the L which is the list. Okay. Now append 1000 at the end of the list. Append 1000 at the end of the list. So what I'm doing here is print L dot append 1000. Print function I'm giving. Then inside the print function, what I'm doing is L dot append. Now append is a function or a method, predefined method inside Python, and that will append this value of 1000 at the end of the list. So if you print this, then this will return none because the append method it returns nothing. It simply appends the value at the end of the list. The append method simply appends the value at the end of the list. It won't return anything. That's why here we get none. Anyways, in the next line, print L comma ID L. What it will do, it will return, it will give you the list. Now the list is printed. Print L. So L is printed here. You see 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. At last you have 1000. Okay, and then comma ID of L. ID of L. So the memory ID of L is printed here, which is this one, same as this one. So no new list is created, no new object is created. At that particular memory ID or memory address, whatever object and list we had, whatever object that is list we had, that will be only there and that will be only expanded and executed. Now in the next line, if I go, L is equals to L plus 1000. If you remember, this is list concatenation. It is list concatenation. In this scenario, a new object, that is a new list, will be created at a different memory ID. Okay, and so an extra memory space will be utilized. So now if I do L is equals to L plus within brackets 1000, because to do list concatenation, a list has to be concatenated with a list only, and for that I use this opening square bracket and the closing square bracket, and inside this I have this value of 1000. Okay, so list concatenation. Now print L comma ID of L. If you do, here the list is printed. Print L will give you the list 100 comma 200 comma 300 comma 400 500. 1000 was already there, and now you see 1000 is appended again. This was 1000, this was 1000. So this 1000 has been appended here, but this was not appended via the append method. It was appended via the list concatenation. So now you see id of l id of l, when it is printed here, a different memory id we get here. You see, it is different from this memory id. Okay, this memory ID was repeated here also because of the append method. But when we go for list concatenation, then a new object, that is a new list, will be created at a new memory ID, and that is what we get here. Okay, moving to the next cell. Here you have another list: 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. First of all, print L. So this will print the value of the list, that is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. What is the question here? Append this. You have to append which one? You have to append this tuple. This is a tuple, we know. That is the first. This is the opening bracket, first bracket. This is the closing bracket, which is your first bracket. Okay, first opening bracket and first closing bracket. Inside this, you have these two elements. The first element is the string value, which is coding, and the second element is also a string value, which is class. So you have to append this tuple. You have to append this entire tuple to the above list. So for this, we can use append. L dot append. L dot append. So here for append method, you have to give these brackets opening and closing, and then inside it, you have to pass this entire tuple, coding comma class. Okay. Now if you print L, then this entire list is printed: 100 comma 200 comma 300 comma 400 comma 500 comma, then this entire value is taken. Okay, so that's what append does. This, it will append the entire tuple here. It will append the entire tuple here. It appends the value at the end of the list, and it appends one value at a time. So here tuple is the value, and tuple is appended at the end of the list. And after tuple, it if there would have been something else like a second tuple or something like list, then that would have been appended also. But after the tuple appended, but after the tuple got appended, after that only it would have happened. Okay, just try to run this. Then next, again here you have a list: 100 comma 200 comma 300 400 500. Print L, so you get the list. Now L dot append. L dot append, inside this we are passing a string value. Inside this we are passing a string value, world. So this is a string value. This is a string value. The string value will be appended at the end of the list, and append method, it appends one value at a time. So this entire string value will be appended at the end of the list. So here you have 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and at the end you have this string value world. Okay, just run this, shift plus enter. Then here you have lst is equals to 100 comma 200 300 400 500. Print L, you get the list here. Now what they're asking is L dot append. So inside the append method, here you have the opening bracket, closing bracket. Inside the append method, what I'm passing here is this list. This is a list. This list has got two elements. This is the first element, which is a string value, that is coding. This is the second element, which is a string value, that is class. So append method, it appends one value at a time and appends the value at the end of the list. Here the value is the list. Here the value is this list. So this entire list will be appended at the end. This entire list will be appended at the end. Okay. So first of all, you have a list here, outer list. This is the outer list, opening bracket and closing bracket, where initially we had 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Now also we had, like this you have to run. Okay, and also we had this will be L actually, sorry, my bad. Yeah, so inside this L, initially we had 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and after that you have this inner list. You have this inner list. We got it from where? We got it from here. The append method will append this list. The append method will append this list. This list is treated as a value. So append method appends the value at the end of the list. It appends one value at a time. So this inner list, this list will be appended at the end of the outer list, and appends one value at a time. So after this list, if there would have been something else, then that would have been appended here also after the inner list. Okay, so this is the outer list, and this one is the inner list. This one is the inner list. Okay, then next here you have a variable dic is equals to a dictionary we have here, 10 is to 1000, 10 is to 1000 comma 20 is to 2000. Print dic, so dictionary is printed. Now here suppose you have a list. L is equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5, and then print L. So list is printed 1 2 3 4 5. Then you have L dot append dic. So this entire dictionary is taken up as a value that will be appended at the end of this list, and it appends one value at a time. So when you print L, you see here we get the list. Here we get the list, and at the end of the list, that is after 5, the entire dictionary has been appended. Okay, just run this. Now next, moving to here the question is, generate a list of even numbers from 1 to 12 using loop. Let's try this. We have done this numerous number of times, this kind of looping question. Okay, so generate a list of even numbers from 1 to 12 using loop. L is equals to, here an empty list is assigned, print id of L, or rather I should say print L comma id of L. Okay, so print L comma id of L. At first an empty list is printed here, and the memory id is also printed of that empty list, that at what memory id that empty list lies. Then in the next line I'm applying the for loop for x in range 1 comma 13. Why 1 comma 13? Because here the numbers are supposed to be from 1 to 12. Okay, then in the next line, if x mod 2 equal to 0, if x mod 2 equal to 0, that means if it is an even number, then in the next line, that is if this condition is satisfied. If this if condition is satisfied, that means if the number is an even number, then we go inside the if loop, that is we go inside the if condition, and there whatever is there inside the if, whatever is there, that will be executed. Here we have extend operation. L plus is equals to within square brackets x. So here we have extend operation. Already we have seen. So what values will be here at first? Here between 1 and 12. Ultimately it will be from 1 and 12, between 1 to 12. 1 is not an even number, so condition not satisfied. 2 is completely divisible by 2. So 2 mod 2 equal to 0. Yes, condition is true. So here L plus equals to x. So the list gets expanded. 2 gets inside this list. The list lies at this particular memory ID. You see this memory ID and this memory ID, they are the same. So no new object, no new list has been created. At that same memory ID only, whatever list was there, there the updation is happening. And in the next line, print L comma ID of L. So yeah, we get the value of list and its memory ID. Next, the control jumps from line 8 to line number 5. The for loop runs again, and 3 won't satisfy this condition, 4 will satisfy this condition. So as soon as 4 satisfies this condition, the extend operation of list will happen again, and there 4 gets inserted inside the list. So you have 2 comma 4, and IDs remains the same. When you print L comma ID of L, this is what you get. Okay, control goes back to line number 5 again. Then for 5 won't satisfy that if condition. 5 won't satisfy this if condition. So control will go back from line 6 to line 5. For loop continues. Now x becomes 6. If 6 mod 2 equal to 0, yes. So here extend operation will happen on 6, because now x will be 6. Right now x is 6. So the list continues to expand, that same very list, 2 comma 4 comma 6. Then the control goes back to line number 5 again, and for 7 this if condition is not satisfied, but so the control goes back from line 6 to line 5. For loop continues to run. X becomes 8. If 8 mod equal to 0, yes, so here extend operation will happen, where x is nothing but your 8. So 8 gets inserted inside the list, and at that same memory ID only. Then x becomes 9 as the for loop runs again, and 9 won't satisfy this scenario. Now the control goes back to line number 5, x becomes 10. So if x mod 2 equal to 0, that is if 10 mod 2 equal to 0, yes, the condition is satisfied. So the control goes inside the if condition. There line number 7 is executed, where extend operation of list happens. L plus is equals to x within the square bracket. What is x? X is nothing but your 10. So here you have 2 4 6 8 10. And finally 11. For 11, when x becomes 11, the if condition won't be satisfied. Control goes back from line 6 to line 5. Now x becomes 12, condition is satisfied. Now x is 12, so here the condition will be satisfied. If 12 mod 2 equal to 0, yes, so L plus equals to x, so 12 gets inserted inside this list. And memory ID overall, you can see everywhere the memory ID is the same. Okay, now what if I want to use the append method here? Generate a list of even numbers from 1 to 12 using loop and append. Okay. So again, here you declare a list. Here you declare a list, empty list, sorry, an empty list for x in range 1 comma 13. If x mod 2 equal to 0, simply l dot append x. Simply l dot append x. So at first 2 will be appended to this particular list. So here you get 2. Then 4 will satisfy this particular condition, like 2 satisfied this if condition. 4 will also satisfy this condition, because here the numbers will range from 1 to 12. So 4 gets inserted inside this list. Similarly, 6 will satisfy this condition, so 6 will get inside this list. Similarly, 8 will satisfy this condition, so L dot append 8. So 8 will be inserted inside this list. Then 10 will satisfy, 9 won't satisfy, 10 will satisfy this condition. So if 10 mod 2 equal to 0, yes. So now the control will go to line number 7 when the if condition is satisfied. L dot append x. So that means 10 will be now appended at the end of the list. Again, the for loop continues. 11 won't satisfy this particular if condition. So the control goes back to line number 5. For loop runs again. Now x becomes 12. If 12 mod 2 equal to 0, yes, the condition is satisfied. So L dot append 12. So 12 will be appended at the end of the list. Okay. Next you have extend method. Here you have extend method. What does it say? It in the extend method, an iterable is used as the argument. So extend method accepts an iterable. It will, you have to pass an iterable to the extend method. One by one it adds the iterables components to the list. So one by one the extend method will append the elements of the iterable to the list. First of all, you have to pass an iterable to the extend method. Then inside the iterable you will have elements. One by one those elements will be added or appended to the list. So here you have L is equals to 100, 200, 300, 400. This is a list. Print L, and here you get this particular list. Now print L dot extend. Print L dot extend. Extend is a method, so it will have its own bracket. That is, this is the opening bracket, and this is the closing bracket. This one is the closing bracket. Then inside the extend method, what I'm passing here is this tuple. Inside the extend method, I'm passing this tuple. See, this is the opening bracket for print, corresponding closing bracket for print. This is the opening bracket for extend, closing bracket for extend. And inside the extend method, I'm passing a tuple. Now this tuple contains two elements. This is the first element, which is coding, that is a string value. This is the second element, which is a string value again, that is class. So tuple is an iterable. We know that tuple is an iterable. So the condition is satisfied here, first condition. And iterable is used as the argument. So you have to pass an iterable as the argument inside the extend method, where tuple is the iterable. Then what will do? What will it do? One by one, it adds the iterables components to the list, one by one. So first it will add coding, then it will add class. Okay. So again, print L dot extend coding comma class. Here the extend operation will happen, but this extend operation will only do the extension. It won't return anything. So that's why when you try to print here, you get nothing, none. Okay. Now already extend operation has occurred over this list L. So when you print L, then the list value is printed here, and here you have 100, 200, 300, 400. And after that you see one by one each and every element of the iterable has been appended here. First element is appended here, which is coding. Then the second element has been appended here, which is your class. Which is your class. If you remember, in case of this is through the extend method, where one by one each and every element of the iterable will be appended here, okay, to the list. And here iterable was the tuple. Now if I just go up, instead of extend, here I had done the same thing almost. Only difference is I wrote L dot append. I didn't write L dot extend here. Instead I used the append method to append this entire tuple. So here this entire tuple got appended, but in case of extend you see, in case of extend you see, the entire tuple has not been appended. Rather, the elements of the tuple have been added here one by one. First coding, then class. So that's why you don't see any tuple here inside this list. Try to run this. I think I ran it. Yeah. Then L is equals to 100, 200, 300, 400. Print L dot append. L dot append, inside append method I'm passing the string value coding, so this entire value will be appended at the end of the list. So when you print L, you get 100, 200, 300, 400, and the entire coding string value is appended here at the end of the list. Now let us try the same thing with the help of extend method. Here the same list, that is sorry, this will be L. Okay, L is equals to 100, 200, 300, 400. Print L. Now L dot extend. L dot extend, and inside the extend method what I'm passing? Inside the extend method I'm passing a string value. Now a string is also an iterable. A string is also an iterable. So here the extend operation, what it will do is that it will basically add all the elements of this iterable, that is string iterable, one by one to the list. So what are the elements of this iterable? This is the first element, C. So C is added here. Then O is added here. Then D is added here. Then I is added here. N is added here. G is added here. In case of append, the entire coding word got appended. But when I used, instead of append, when I used extend method and applied it on the string iterable, which is containing this value of coding, then here each and every element of this iterable gets appended to the list. Each and every element, one by one, gets appended to the list. First is C, that gets appended, then O, then D gets appended, then I gets appended, then N gets appended, then G gets appended. So that's what you get when you print L. You get this list. There's 100, 200, 300, 400 coding, and then thanks to this extend operation, these individual elements. Okay, just try to run this. Yeah. The next you have again a list 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Print L, comma ID of L. Here you see list is printed and its corresponding memory ID is also printed here, where the list has been created. L dot extend, then inside the extend method I'm passing this string, which is an iterable containing these three characters A, B, C. So this is a string value, and inside the string value you have got three elements. So here the extend operation, it takes an iterable as the argument. String is the iterable taken up as the argument. Now it will append all the elements of this iterable one by one to the list. So first A will be appended, then B will be appended, then C will be appended. So if you look here, A is appended, then B is appended, then C is appended, and that's what you get when you print L, comma ID of L. So ID of L will be also printed here, and here we get to see this memory ID is same as this memory ID. So in case of extend operation also, no new list is created, no new object is created, at that same memory, that same object, that is the same list is here expanded, which is at this particular memory address 1635884164928. Okay, just try to run this cell. L is equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. This is a list. Now L is equals to, I'm writing here L plus, then here you have a iterable, which is nothing but your tuple. Inside the tuple you have 10 comma 20. So I'm trying to do here list concatenation and print L. When I execute this cell, here we get type error. We know this can only concatenate list to list. Here I'm trying to concatenate the list with a tuple. That is not possible. When I am trying to do list concatenation, thanks to this plus operator here, thanks to this plus operator, when I'm trying to do list concatenation, then a list can be concatenated with the list only. Okay, L is a list. L is a list, but this is not a list. That's why we get error here. Okay. Now, if you come down a little bit, then L is equals to 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. Print ID of L. Here the print L comma ID of L rather should I do. Okay, and here also comma ID of L, and rather let me remove this. Okay, so now if you run this, first of all the list is printed and it is there at a particular memory ID. Okay, because of this statement print L comma ID of L. Now here L plus is equals to, L plus is equals to, that means I'm going for extend operation. I'm going for extend operation. Okay, L plus is equals to, I'm going for extend operation, and here what I'm giving, this is an iterable. What is this iterable? It is a tuple. Okay, here I'm giving a tuple which is nothing but your iterable. Now in case of extend operation, when you're trying to perform the extend operation on a list, then what happens is inside the extend method, you have to pass an iterable. That iterable can be any iterable. It can be tuple, list, string, frozen set, range, bytes, byte array, anything. Now internally what happens is extend operation will happen here, and we know that in case of extend operation you have to pass an iterable, any iterable. Here the iterable is tuple, so here I won't get any error, because in case of extend operation, any iterable, whether be it string or tuple or frozen set or range, that has to be passed as an argument. So it is passed as an argument. Now the extend operation will add all the elements of that iterable one by one to the list. So it has got two elements, so one by one, these elements will be added to the list thanks to the extend operation. At first, 10 is added to the list, then 20 is added to the list. Okay, so this internally is nothing but your L dot extend, L dot extend. Then here you're passing this iterable, which is a tuple 10 comma 20. Internally, that's how it looks like. This one this one is same as this one. Okay, inside the extend method I'm passing this iterable, which is which has to be passed as an argument, and this tuple is an this is a tuple which is an iterable, and it has got two elements. So the extend method or the extend operation will append all the elements of the iterable one by one to the list. So first 10 is appended to the list, then 20 is appended to the list, as I can see here. Okay, so that's it for this class, my dear friends. And if you have liked this class, you can hit the like, share, and subscribe button, and press the bell icon for notifications, and leave your comments in the comment section. So thank you.